This video is sponsored by Tokyo Treat. Alright, welcome back everyone. One Piece spoilers have returned. It's been about a 4-week break, but they're finally back and this chapter is going to be pretty good. Now, it was a little difficult getting this information today because the people that are in control of the spoiler information have just been leaking it very slowly, and I guess they just don't want to completely destroy the internet immediately, so they're going to be releasing more and more information as the days go on. But we do have enough to talk about in a full video today, thankfully, so let's get into it. So the title of the chapter is Emperor of Flames. It is the name of Ace's Entei attack. The title is related to Sabo, and from what I've also seen, most of this chapter is related to Sabo as well. We know the news about the death of a character. This news is also related to Sabo. Okay, so unfortunately, as of right now, we're not really getting any more information on this, but like I said, we'll be getting information more and more as the week goes on, most definitely tomorrow for sure. So please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, because tomorrow I will immediately be making a follow-up spoiler video to this, going over all of the extra information that we're going to be getting. But I think I could make a lot of sense of this one sentence here. But in order to do that, we're going to have to backtrack a little bit and go back to what was going on with Sabo and the Reverie and all that stuff. So around the chapter 904 and 905 range, we saw the Revolutionary Army getting together. We also saw Sabo talking to Dragon. And Dragon was like, I suppose we could firm up our plans first, Sabo. At this Reverie, it's finally time. And then Sabo said, to declare war, right? Against the celestial dragons. And then after that, we cut to the beginning of the Reverie and we see, whatever's going on with all that stuff, getting reacquainted with the princesses and everything. But then it turns out that Sabo and the other Revolutionary Army commanders had already infiltrated the Reverie. Then in the following chapter, we go a little more into the Reverie and whatnot, and then we eventually see what has become of Kuma. But first, let's talk about the sponsor of this video, Tokyo Treat. Tokyo Treat is a monthly subscription service where you'll get up to 20 of the latest, most exclusive, limited edition and seasonal flavored Japanese snacks that are only available in Japan and for a limited time, like Japanese Pepsi, Kit Kats, and many more. This month's box theme is Sugoi Summer. August in Japan means summer holiday, so this month's box is full of tasty and limited edition summer themed treats like Chupa Chups strawberry cream soda and watermelon seed ramune candy. It also comes with this cool booklet that gives you information on all of the snacks in the box, as well as information on the summer holiday in Japan. Next, let's try this strawberry cream soda. Never had anything like this before. That tastes like candy. And of course, we gotta try the ramen this month. And this month, it's chilled tanuki soba. I know I always say this, but this is uniquely Japanese in the best way. It's hard to describe it. You really have to try it for yourself, but it's delicious. And last but not least, we gotta try the special Japanese Kit Kats. And this month, it's Cafe Olé. Guys, these Kit Kats are always incredible. So guys, if you're interested in getting Tokyo Treat, which is honestly one of the highlights of my month, check out the link in the description and make sure you use my promo code because you can get $5 off your first box. Thanks, guys. He's become known as the invincible slave to the celestial dragons. This is because he's pretty much gone full-blown cyborg at this point. As we've been following him through the series, slowly but surely he had been leaving humanity behind, essentially, becoming like a full-blown cyborg through Vegapunk operations. As I said, now he's become like the invincible slave to the celestial dragons, as to where they're like renting him out just so they can ride around on him and like torture him or whatever. But as we see this happening, it cuts to like underneath where that is, and we see Sabo, Karasu, Lindbergh, and Morley, and they're able to like hide under here because of Morley's devil fruit ability. He can like carve out the ground and stuff. That's actually how New Kama Land in Impel Down was created. But at this point, Sabo's like, look what's being done to our comrade, to our kind-hearted Kuma, because of course Kuma was a former Revolutionary Army commander. But then they go on to have a short discussion about how essentially they're making an example out of Kuma more than anything here because he was the former king of an allied nation. And then it ends up with Sabo saying, no, we're not getting caught. We either succeed or we die. Then after this, the updates on Sabo kind of go dark, and we only find out what's happening with him like through exposition and dialogue. So going forward to chapter 925, Blackbeard is talking talking to Moria on Pirate Island. And he says, "Didn't you read the morning paper? There's never a dull moment on just the 4th day of the reverie. The captains of the Revolutionary Army busted into the Holy Land Mary Joie to rescue Kuma, and they clashed with the Marine Admirals Green Bull and Purple Tiger in the process, Ryokuyu and Fujitora." And that's kind of where that ends. So we know that they eventually came from underground and tried to rescue Kuma, but wound up running into Ryokuyu and Fujitora, who were obviously at the reverie because that's when we were first introduced to Ryokuyu. Then going forward to chapter 956, a new newspaper is released and we see the Revolutionary Army reading it. And Ivankov says, "That can't be true. You're kidding. Sabo. This is Sabo we're talking about. It's impossible. I won't believe a word of it." And Dragon's like, "Our first step is to ascertain the truth." We also see Dedan reading the newspaper saying, "Sabo, say it ain't so. We only just found out he was alive." So that's pretty much all we know at this point. It's kind of Oda playing with us, wants to maybe make us think that Fujitora and Ryokuyu killed him, which is a possibility, but I don't think that's what happened. Again, possibility, maybe, but I think maybe someone else died. And that brings us to the spoiler here. We know the news about the death of a character. This news is also related to Sabo. So I think the way that that's worded there is pretty much telling us that someone has died for sure, but it's not Sabo. And the person that I think died here is Vivi. But hear me out. Let me just explain myself as to why I think this. So in the same chapter that we saw Sabo like underground with Morley and them in chapter 908, later on in that chapter is when we're first introduced to Imu, the shadow ruler of the world government. And we see the sequence of Imu like cutting up pictures of Blackbeard, Luffy, and Shirahoshi. And then the final picture that she's holding is Vivi's. And that's not cut up. And she never really lets that one go. And as she walks up to the empty throne, we see the Gorosei come in. And they say, "Have you decided upon another light to be erased from history? Simply state the name you wish stricken." And then, of course, Imu doesn't say anything. And it's been like 4 years since we knew anything about this sequence or just Imu in general. But considering that the last picture that she was holding was Vivi, and Vivi is at the reverie, I'm thinking that Vivi was the light that was erased from history here, and they're framing Sabo as the murderer. I mean, that's totally in the MO of the world government, right? And I think that would also make sense as to why everyone's freaking out in the newspaper. But also, I guess Sabo was defeated by Fujitora and Ryokuyu because, you know, we haven't seen Sabo. Now, either he escaped from the battle or he's like imprisoned at the moment, but we have seen Ryokuyu obviously because he's at Wano right now. And Fujitora was like going off to go fight a warlord or something. I forget exactly what he's doing, but he wasn't defeated or anything. But I'll leave that there because while we're talking about Ryokuyu, we find out something about him in this chapter apparently, and that is that his fruit is a Logia type. Now, I'll go more into that, but this also makes me think that we're going to see a flashback possibly of him fighting against Sabo, and that's maybe where this is revealed. But his fruit being a Logia type makes sense because Logias are fruits that are composed of natural elements. You know, we've always seen them be like, you know, fire, ice, smoke, lightning. So plants and stuff like that fits into that category. But also considering how diverse plants are, that especially makes this fruit pretty broken. I mean, we've seen little of Ryokuyu so far, but he's already used it in so many different capacities. Like he can sprout a huge flower on his back and fly around, and he can also just sprout these vine tentacle things and just absorb people like Cell. Like this is only the tip of the iceberg for Ryokuyu for sure. But yeah, that's unfortunately all for the spoilers right now. But like I said, tomorrow we're probably going to get a much longer summary, hopefully. And like I said, I will make a video on that as soon as we get the information. Let me know what you think about the spoilers in the comments. Who do you think's dead? Do you think it's Sabo? Do you think it's Vivi? Let me know. And if you liked the video, please give it a like and please subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day and I'll see you in the next one.